just a week from that crippling election defeat, tongues are wagging that Sonia Sotomayor should step down as a justice of the Supreme Court. The ghost of RBG haunts the left as Ruth Bader Ginsburg clung to power and paved the way for President Trump to seal the court with conservative nominees. Justice Sotomayor, 70, is the third oldest judge on the 9-member bench and has long been about living her life with type 1 diabetes. Trump's impending return to the White House is now lending steam to anxious Democrats, calling for her to resign so President Joe Biden has the opportunity to nominate a younger replacement. Some pundits have even mentioned that Kamala Harris could be a replacement. But on Sunday's NBC's Meet the Press, Senator Bernie Sanders came out hard against Sotomayor's retiring. Let's watch.
Some Democrats behind the scenes quietly talking about the possibility, should Justice Sotomayor step down, to allow President Biden to appoint someone who's younger. She's only 70 years old. Is that something that you would support? Do you think she should step down?
No, I don't.
Have you heard any talk of this?
A little bit, yes. I don't think it's a sensible approach.
And you don't think it's a sensible approach?
Correct.
The prospect of Sotomayor retiring did spark conversation on X, with Tyler Austin, a contributor to The Atlantic, writing much of what people see as the right's tactical brilliance is really just the tactical stupidity of liberals like RBG, Biden, and Sotomayor, who are too narcissistic to do the right thing, and normie libs who are too scared of being called sexist, ageist, racist, etc., to tell them to GTFO. I think you know what that stands for. Another X user said, "Stop it with the Sotomayor should retire tomorrow. Honestly, shut the F up. Trump is going to replace Alito and Thomas with 40-year-olds, unquote. Currently, SCOTUS has a 6-3 conservative majority. Should Sonia Sotomayor retire now?" I'm going to say, so from the Democratic perspective, she absolutely should. I think she should absolutely retire right now. If I was a partisan Democrat, if I wanted to see more Democratic Supreme Court outcomes, I would be like, oh my God, this woman has to go now. 70 is no spring chicken. I know we've accepted that everyone in government has to be 8,000 years old. She has been open about health problems, and Democrats may not have an opportunity to appoint a Supreme Court justice again for 4 years, for 8 years, for who knows. This, because you got to have the presidency and control of the Senate, or you will not have that's just the reality.
Right.
If there's a vacancy and the president and the Senate are a different party, what would happen now is that person would never get replaced. That is what would happen. It hasn't happened yet because it hasn't coincided that way, and we used to live in less partisan times, but now the reality is you could never replace a justice unless you had the presidency and the Senate. They will not be able to do so again. What is going to happen during the second Trump term, I predict, is that you will get retirement from Clarence Thomas and perhaps Alito. They'll be replaced. People much younger. You'll have
Peter Thiel will be he's a lawyer, right?
Democrats have no way out of the fact that Republicans are going to control the Supreme Court now for a really long time.
I'm going to hide under the desk right now. Just keep freaking me out. I'm just going to have a panic attack, and I know everyone is going to.
It's bad. Look, Democrats could always retake. The Senate map is unfavorable, but they could win the presidency in 4 years. They could win the House in 2 years. If they don't win it now, we're still counting, etc. Congress, presidency, those things. The public opinion shifts wildly in this country. Nobody's ever out. It looks bad for Democrats right now, but that's happened before, and they've come back, and vice versa. It's not the Supreme Court. You're not going to have a shot at that for
4 years.
50 years.
I don't necessarily.
You're not going to have a shot at flipping it.
I mean, I think, not flipping it, yeah. Sotomayor,
you're going to lose ground.
She's 70. She does have some health issues, but chronic health issues she's had her whole life. She's not old. I'm sorry. 70 is not old. It's not Ruth Bader Ginsburg. She's not 99. Yeah. Not sitting there falling asleep. She's a very energized. I don't know if you've ever heard her speak. She had a book recently come out.
Sure.
She's incredibly there.
Okay.
And I think she's a hero. I think it's convenient. She's also, listen, for all these woke Democrats, suddenly when you have a Latina, first Latina woman Supreme Court justice, you're not standing for her. You only want her when you need her. So I think we're a little fast and loose with our standards in our party. Usually happen, when it's convenient, they back certain people and they ignore certain things when it's convenient. And I think in this situation, there are a lot of folks who are panicking because no one's thinking clearly right now. Like I said earlier, the text messages coming in, the zany ideas. I mean, there's stuff that people aren't saying on Twitter and X right now that's even wilder than that. So expanding the Supreme Court also has been in conversation for a while. We will not have the opportunity to do that anytime soon, but potentially
Just keep it with the 9. Keep it with the 9. So a full half of whom or more. If Trump gets to make, if he ends up replacing Thomas and Alito, that he would be able to have 5 Supreme Court. If he replaced Sotomayor too, he would make 6 Supreme Court decisions over the course of his 2 terms in office. I think the last time a single president was able to pick a majority of that's going back decades. I think Nixon ended up having a lot of picks. Obviously, FDR ended up picking the vast majority. He's reigned for forever. But usually you get like 1 or 2 picks, and Trump was very lucky to get 3 in his first term.
Very lucky.
Now he might get another 3. Although it's interesting because really the most conservative member, again, this speaks to how I talk about Trump as in some ways a moderating figure. The most conservative members of the Supreme Court are Alito and Thomas, who were picked by Bush.
Yeah.
Kavanaugh and to a lesser extent Gorsuch, he's still pretty conservative. Kavanaugh and I can't think of her name right now.
Coney Barrett.
Amy Coney Barrett are a little bit more moderate than the guys who are on the court before.
I mean, Coney Barrett surprised me with some of her takes and her rulings recently. But
I quite like her rulings.
I don't know if I would go that far.
It's not. We're not living under handmaid's tale yet. We don't have to
Yet.
put you in your little hood.
Yet.
Your little.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dot 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 dot
Oh,
dot
it'll
dot
be
dot.
fine. It'll be fine.
It'll be great. I'm gonna
great.
opt out. I think women are gonna declare. Women who are over this are just gonna declare our own island, like libertarians. Go out there and buy islands and create their own countries.
That
That's
is what we
women
live.
do.
Oh, that is our idea.
I know.
Seasteading.
But
is
you know
great.
where they got that from?
Where do we
Ancient
get that?
Greek mythology.
Oh, well, I love ancient Greek mythology.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So way to copy us.
Yeah, indeed.
Culturally appropriate.
Oh, copying the Greeks.
And the women.
I see.
So
see.
2 things that I am.
Well,
You're welcome.
we are
My
gonna
contributions to civilization.
we are actually going to talk about what some women are advising is a general sex strike. Have you seen this on, I think it's a TikTok thing. I actually haven't heard about it, but it's
there.
what's on deck to talk about a little bit later on Rising. Stay tuned for more of our show.